vulnerable adults with disabilities and mental illnesses now kicked out of their homes.
I already suffer from extreme depression. I have nowhere else to go.
Their landlord accused of running poorly managed and unlicensed group homes.
There's no water.
I didn't know that he was considering it a group home, and I didn't know that it was a guy in there with no legs and no bed.
We followed the paper trail and put questions directly to the man accused. When systems fail, people pay the price. We trace the damage, expose the truth, and fight to fix it. This is Uncovered by Atlanta News First Investigates.
A Metro Atlanta man accused of operating unlicensed group homes for people living with disabilities and battling mental health struggles.
One police officer described a home as poor living conditions for at-risk adults. Atlanta News First Investigates witnessed this firsthand.
There's no water. The water and the electricity was both turned off today.
Atlanta News First Investigates met Neo White outside of this Stockbridge house as he and others with disabilities were getting evicted from what they say was a group home.
I happened to see a yellow notice on the door, and it was an eviction notice from the court.
Only the eviction wasn't from the man they say they were paying.
You figured out that rent had not been paid to the actual homeowner?
Correct.
Mary Brown is the homeowner who tells us she's been renting to the man they've been paying, Charles Pruitt.
I didn't know that he was considering it a group home, and I didn't know the environment that was going on in the home.
Mary says she gave Charles 60 days to move out so her family member could move in. But then she says he stopped paying rent. And when she went to serve the eviction notice,
they let me come in and everything, and I saw bugs on the wall as soon as I came in.
Mary says a double amputee tenant was in a room with no bed and no working lights. She found his bed with others on the back porch. Tenants told Atlanta News First Investigates they had bed bugs. And that morning, water and power were off.
It's very heartbreaking. I feel sorry for the people on the inside.
Mary says Charles has been renting the house for 4 years. Tenants said they pay him $750 in cash every month.
How does that add up?
It's like $3,000 some odd a month for 4 people. And then he only pays me $1,600.
2 tenants told us they were referred to Charles from a previous personal care home and a mental health hospital.
After getting discharged out of the mental hospital facility, I told them I had nowhere else to go, and that's when they told me about Charles.
Under Georgia eviction law, the tenants didn't have to immediately move out, but renters law also prohibits a landlord from shutting off utilities.
What are you going to do?
Honestly, I don't know, because I have nowhere else to go.
Mary says Charles turned off the utilities and told Neo to call police for help.
Camera recording started.
How much do you pay?
The guy, I paid him $750.
$750 in cash.
I paid him in cash.
Inside the house, other tenants told the officer the same thing. They paid Charles, not Mary.
We all paid rent.
We all paid up, so
we don't give her rent.
Just this property, so he's the middleman.
Yeah.
When the tenants get Charles on the phone, we can hear him tell the officer that the utilities were shut off early. He was planning to move the tenants the next day. Within an hour, Charles and his wife arrived with a U-Haul. Hi, are you Charles?
I might let Rollo ride with me.
Are you Charles? At first, he wouldn't answer our questions. Do you have a license to be running a group home here? What did you do with their rent money for the month?
I just closed on a house.
You bought a house with their rent money? And when we asked if that would also be a group home, Charles took 3 of the tenants but left Neo. When police asked him about Neo's money, Charles initially said he never paid him.
He said that he paid you money to pay the homeowner for the rent.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
He came here with no money.
When the officer asks again, Charles' wife sticks to the first answer, and Charles changes it.
Did he pay you any kind of money?
No. He gave me, $60 when he got his check.
Ultimately, police told Neo it's a civil dispute. As for the alleged group home operation, Georgia law requires business licenses from the Secretary of State, and group homes require county permits in residential zoning. Do you have other group homes as well?
Please get away from my car. Please move.
Charles did not answer our questions regarding having a business license or permits to operate group homes. We found this one man is accused of operating group homes without a license for years. We look into why he's still operating after more than a decade of complaints.
Vulnerable adults evicted from an unlicensed group home in Henry County.
That's right. Government records reveal complaints against this one man allegedly running facilities going back more than a decade.
You know, I already suffer from extreme depression. It has made me even more depressed.
So you're evicting everybody from this property?
Yes. See, the thing, he paid him to stay here for the whole month, just like they did.
Well, when Charles gets here, we'll speak about that.
Atlanta News First Investigates met Charles Pruitt at an alleged group home.
Are you Charles?
The homeowner was evicting Charles for unpaid rent, only he wasn't living there.
I didn't know that he was considering it a group home, and I didn't know that it was a guy in there with no legs and no bed.
4 tenants told us they pay Charles to live in his group home. What are you going to do?
Honestly, I don't know, because I have nowhere else to go.
Do you have a license to be running a group home here?
Charles did not answer our questions regarding having a business license or permits.
You had some stupid questions.
But we soon learned this wasn't the first time police had responded to concerns at his rental properties.
He got more houses.
Mm-hmm. He had another house down the street, and we shut that one down because it's just unsanitary.
Government records show 8 state investigations and 16 police reports, county citations, and code complaints connected to Charles Pruitt at 9 different homes in Henry and Clayton counties over more than a decade.
He had people living in really, really bad conditions.
The record starts in 2014 when the Georgia Department of Community Health and Clayton County jointly investigated 2 homes in a Conley neighborhood. DCH substantiated allegations that Charles was operating personal care homes. The report states because tenants required assistance with medication. Charles pleaded no contest to both code violations operating a business without a license and paid $250 fines for each citation, according to court records. Over the next 4 years, the county cited and fined him at least 5 more homes for similar allegations. He paid a total of $2,800 in fines and was placed on probation. One DCH report in this time describes a chain and a lock on the refrigerator, the front door wrapped in plastic bags, and 3 residents and a staff member who all, quote, appeared to have mental health issues. The report names Charles Pruitt as the owner or leaseholder of the home. When DCH tried to call him, the number was disconnected, according to the 2018 report. DCH closed the complaint, quote, unable to substantiate the allegation. And yet, records show the allegations continued. A 2023 police report at the same Stockbridge home where we met him states a blind man in a wheelchair called police because he says he was supposed to be in an assisted living home, but it was just a room. The man also reported the home to DCH. A state investigator went to the house, and according to the report, they left after 10 minutes, noting there was a dog loose on the property and no one there to speak to. The complaint was closed as, quote, unsubstantiated. But the paper trail doesn't stop there. Also in 2023, a police officer looking for a missing person noted in his report that Piedmont Henry emergency room staff had a resource list for patients that listed, quote, Charles Pruitt personal care homes. We did not find that business registered or licensed in the state of Georgia. Piedmont Hospitals did not respond to Atlanta News First Investigates multiple inquiries on protocols for vetting its hospital resource lists. In 2024, code enforcement condemned a home in Ellenwood that Charles was renting for safety violations. Adult Protective Services assisted in relocating the tenants, and records state law enforcement removed Charles, who claimed he lived down the street. Less than half a mile down the street at the other home, records show similar complaints and investigations by the county and DCH.
Charles Pruitt took my money. My mom came.
Charles, what's his last name?
Pruitt.
Okay.
Police body camera footage from July 2025 shows an officer respond to the house where a tenant claims Charles is kicking him out over an alleged dispute with the house manager. The man claims Charles called his probation officer, who then said he had to leave.
My probation officer in Cobb County, she told me I had 7 days to leave his residence.
That's not how that works. I don't care what your probation officer said. I don't care what anybody said.
At least 2 tenants said they had been referred to the home by their probation officers, according to police footage.
I just got out of jail.
Okay.
I'm not trying to go back.
The officer ultimately reported the home to code enforcement, referencing, quote, poor living conditions, home for at-risk adults. She submitted photos that show part of the ceiling missing, exposed ductwork, mold, a broken oven door, and the refrigerator chained with a lock. The officer also reported it to Adult Protective Services. Of the total 24 complaints, reports, and investigations between the county and state, we could only confirm the fines for citations for operating without a business license from 2014 to 2019. Most complaints were either closed as unfounded or dismissed when Charles requested a jury trial. The only business we found licensed with DCH under Charles Pruitt is an adult day center with 15 beds in Stockbridge called New Novus Corp. So this is the 3rd time we've been to this business during business hours, and it hasn't been open. I did speak with a nearby business that tells us he has never seen it open. We followed up with Charles asking about all of the allegations, as well as county and state investigations listed in this story. He did not respond. As for the displaced residents, what are you going to do?
Honestly, I don't know, because I have nowhere else to go.
I want the facilities to take responsibility when they are placing these people and make sure that they do background checks or go visit the facility just because they're vulnerable.
Please move. Do you think that the county or the state should stop this?
Absolutely. If he continues to do this, then it's going to affect more people.
Atlanta News First investigates one man accused of profiting off of people with limited options.
You know, oftentimes when police arrive to a scene, you think they're going to get involved because they're police, but they pointed out this is a civil matter. What recourse does that leave some of these residents?
The officers didn't really even understand what was taking place at the house. The whole thing is so muddy and messy, especially when there's no written lease.
Next on Uncovered, we take you behind the investigation.
So you're evicting everybody from this property?
Yes.
How did you come to live in this house?
I was at a mental hospital facility. I tried to commit suicide.
I didn't know that it was a guy in there with no legs and no bed.
We all paid rent.
Are you Charles? My name is Anastasia Olmos. I'm with Atlanta News First Investigates.
So our office received a complaint about this thing being a assisted living.
Do you have a license to be running a group home here?
I want the facilities to take responsibility.
Please get away from my car. Please move.
I have nowhere else to go.
Excellent reporting. A lot to unpack here. First things first, as of today, our taping, has anything changed with these displaced residents?
So one of the residents is at least who we know did not have housing when this situation happened. That's Neo. He was keeping in touch with me for a while there, telling me he didn't have housing. He was trying to find something. And since I've not been able to communicate with him.
That homeowner who was evicting Charles said that she didn't know he was allegedly operating this as a group home. Did she ever do inspections at the home? Did she get complaints from neighbors?
So the thing about landlord-tenant law here in Georgia is that a landlord has to give notice when they're going to come, and it also has to be for a reason. They can't just come check to make sure. And so in this situation, she knew that he did have tenants and that he was renting out the rooms. Essentially, she had started a home there for elderly care years ago. She said she stopped it because she couldn't find the right caretakers to come and help run the home. When Charles Pruitt allegedly took over this home and was renting out the rooms, she says she did not know the conditions of the rooms, the housing, where the referrals were coming from for people to come to this housing and what assistance they were expecting. And ultimately on that day, she said she was just heartbroken at the whole situation of tenants like Neo who have nowhere else to go.
You know, oftentimes when police arrive to a scene, you think they're going to get involved because they're police, but they pointed out this is a civil matter. What recourse does that leave some of these residents?
A civil matter often means you need to go to court. And that's what's so unfortunate in these situations when you call police. Some people want to document. They want a police report that police were called. But in some situations, when water and power has been shut off and you have an eviction notice on the door, you have nowhere else to go. You're essentially calling police for help, some option to find safe housing. And in this situation, the officers, when we watched that body cam and kind of saw the behind the scenes of what I wasn't able to hear, the officers didn't really even understand what was taking place at the house. You could hear the main responding officer asking the second responding officer what to do next. Do I write a report? Who do I take a statement from? So he may have been in training, but then he calls his supervisor to brief him on what's going on. And he says that Charles lives in the house and that Charles isn't home. Charles doesn't live in the house, and that's just not the situation. And so the police officers don't understand what's going on. Are these tenants going to, like Neo, take, Charles Pruitt to court and say, I paid money to live here, and now I'm being evicted and he's not taking me to the new house? The whole thing is so muddy and messy, especially when there's no written lease. That contract binds the homeowner and the tenant, or the landlord and the tenant, to an agreement. And so without that contract, that lease, what is the agreement? How much did you pay? Do you have a receipt? No, you paid him via Cash App. You paid him via money order. There are some police reports that I have read where people are alleging they have given Charles Pruitt their debit card and have given him rent that way, and then he returns the card. This is alleged in a police report, and we are still investigating, trying to figure out what's been going on and how this has been going on so long. Ultimately, we want answers from those that can hold people accountable for these types of facilities. That would be DCH for personal care homes. Police and code enforcement, when they respond to complaints, what is your course of action here? They can condemn a home if it's not safe for living, but who really oversees business operation and referrals out of hospitals? We have not gotten many answers when it comes to this.
Well, that segues nicely into my final question here. You've been reporting on this topic for a while, and it seems like the Department of Community Health of Georgia really isn't giving you a lot of comment on this story.
Well, one thing that I hope people can decipher in the story is that there's a difference between these types of homes. When we're trying to what we call track and broadcast, we try to simplify it. So we call it group homes, we call it facilities. But there are several different, which I also try to break down in the story. You've got personal care homes, which that's what DCH oversees, because that involves assistance, living, medical. There's likely going to be some medicine involved. There have been police reports that allege medicine has been involved in these homes where they're getting administered to the tenants or the patients in the home by a caretaker. That's a personal care home. That is what DCH has jurisdiction over. That requires a license. Now, if you're not providing this medical assistance, it could fall under different things like a transitional home for help for substance abuse and things like that. You don't necessarily need a license to run that, but your county will often require some sort of permit for you to be running a business in residential zoning. So there's several layers here. And in addition, when you are getting referrals, whether it's from a hospital or a mental health institution or a probation officer from the county or the state, you are listing a business. That business is going to be held responsible for anything income, right, from the state. So you've got to register that business. You've got to pay taxes. There are certain regulations for businesses on how they deal with money. We did not find businesses, filed in the state of Georgia for Charles Pruitt except for that new Novus Court. And that is registered with DCH as a adult day center. It is so confusing what is really going on with these homes, but the picture overall, does not show a business operating under the law of Georgia. And so there's still a lot of questions to go, to be answered, and we are continuing to investigate.
And we know you'll get those answers. Thanks so much, Anastasia.
You can listen to all of our extended conversations on these stories right now on our podcast, Behind the Investigation. Just search Atlanta News First on your favorite podcast platform. You're watching Uncovered by Atlanta News First Investigates, a weekly hour-long investigative show with new episodes launching every Sunday at 7.